Yeah, I'll so we'll get started with yesterday's continuation. So so basically to start up, right? So we'll start with say MicroStrategy basics. So till yesterday we have completed like whatever the basics which we required for MicroStrategy, right? But probably like again we'll have a couple of sessions before our end of the course as on data warehousing. What other questions we can expect in an interview? There are like few more concepts which will be asked in an interview, but that is like nowhere related to say MicroStrategy. So to learn MicroStrategy, so whatever basics we require, right? So that already we have learned basically. So of which, so only few things you need to remember is, so whenever we discuss something dimension, right? So in MicroStrategy, we refer that as an attribute. So whenever we say dimension, it is an attribute. And then whenever here, right? So this is a data warehousing terminology. So this is, say for example, a DWH terminology and this specific thing, right? So attribute, so whatever we have here, so this is a terminology of MicroStrategy. So that's it. Apart from that, I come in. So whenever we say attribute, just remember like it has a dimension. And apart from that, like one more thing basically is, so we do have dimension tables here. So we will have a dimension tables. So in case of data warehouse, but whereas in case of MicroStrategy, right? So what we'll have basically is the same thing we'll call as lookup tables, or in short we prefix like this. LU means lookup tables. LU means lookup. So dimension tables means lookup tables. The other thing, fact tables are fact tables, and then the dimension, the facts are facts. Like the facts we refer as facts, and then basically whenever we have say fact tables, right? In MicroStrategy also we call facts, fact tables and facts. But whereas when it comes to attribute and then lookup tables, so these two we call. So basically whenever we have dimension, right? So as per MicroStrategy, the same dimension we refer it with a different name, that is an attribute. And then next one is we have a dimension, and that specific dimension table we call in MSTR a lookup tables. And apart from that, so what in case of data warehousing, so we'll have, measures, or generally we call as, say for example, KPIs, key performance indicators. The same thing in case of MicroStrategy, so we refer that particular measures as metrics. So these are the three different concepts like which you need to remember before we get started. So this is what the basics you require. Okay, so dimension means attribute, dimension tables means lookup tables, like measures or KPIs means metrics. So these are the three different concepts or three different terminology you need to remember. And then like on few more basics. So first 15-20 minutes we'll see the basics, and then probably we'll get into the editor, start creating up a basic report and so on. So by end of the session, so we just create up a basic report. So this is the first part. And basically, so whenever we learn MicroStrategy, right? So this MicroStrategy, right? So we discuss basically is so this particular MicroStrategy is a company that has been founded in the year 1989, right? So they have a product called MicroStrategy BI tool, and like after this basically, so 1989, so they have come up initially with MicroStrategy tool, then they started their particular version with MicroStrategy 7, and then slowly, right, so they came to say 9, and then in a current market like V7.1, 7.2, then 8, and then from 8 they came to 9, and so on basically. So it has like say in between version 8 and then version 9, and the latest version in the market basically. So still I mean, a lot of testing is going on this version to implement in market. So basically the latest version we have is 10.4. So this is the latest version we have. So basically in every version you take, right? So generally it will have V7, 7.1, 7.2 and so on. So after 7.5, basically they came to again 8, then again 9. So in 9 also basically we'll have V 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4. So basically what they do is they will introduce or they come up with one version, and to the next version they add some new features. They add some new features and they release that as V 9.1, then V 9.2 and so on. So as part of course basically, so what we'll be learning basically is as part of our course, so we'll be learning V 9.4 as like we have to put up say certain experience, right? So basically every one of us has to say, because this is where this has started in 2009, right? So people who put like before 2009 you have worked on MSTR, then it has to come from here. So you also involve in 8th version. So people who are from 2009 right till now, you can just put like you have been working from V9 till V9.4, and then apart from that, like probably after like say I see a lot of companies still they are working with V9.4. So this particular V10.4 still, I mean they are taking call in order to migrate, or like once if they release 10.5, they are going to see which one is the best one or the efficient one for their project, and from V9.4 there might be in coming 3 to 4 months there might be a lot of projects which might be migrated to 10th version. So now I say 90% of projects are running on like 9 version and majorly into 9.4 because this is a stable version under 9. But again, going forward in next 3 to 4 months, you see major projects, right? They get migrated from 9.4 to 10.4 or be it the higher version. But as of now, what we do basically is throughout our course, we'll be learning this one, and at the end basically, so we'll be just seeing how this particular, I mean, most of the things are same, but again, what are new things that has been added? The interface is a bit different in 10. So I'll just tell you, at least you need to tell, okay, I have like a 10 version experience. So we have worked on certain POCs on the 10th version. So I've been working on 10 version for 3-4 months, because so when their requirement, right? So whenever a project comes in, so they want to migrate from one version to other version, right? So again, they require new resources. So on that particular lines, people who have 9 and then people who have 10 exposure, right? So they just prefer those guys who have experience in both the things. So at least you need to tell, okay, 3 to 4 months I've been working with 10.04, 10.4 or 10.2, whatever, the 10th version, and prior to that you do have experience working with 9.4. But your major experience, right, will be on the 9 version, because this is where your majority of your experience, whatever it is, 6 years, like 4 years, or like here like 8 years, whatever you put, right? So that is going to fit under this particular version 9 and then version 9.4 and so on. So this particular version 9 has started in 2009, and that is where like they have introduced several new features like intelligent cube and so on. So from this particular time frame, 2009, when they have released version 9, from there, right, so this particular tool has been high demand in like major markets, and like a lot of clients started using MicroStrategy, I can say, from 2009 till date. So yeah, there's been, I mean, last, I can say over like 7-8 years, it is very good in market. Like it has acquired major clients as well, and that is fine. We don't require that. But as of now, just remember, so MicroStrategy started with initial versions, then they have come up with version 7, 8, then 9, and then like the current latest version is 10.4, right? And then basically, apart from this, so what else we require is, so once we learn our course, right? So what are the different roles that I'll have in, and where do I fit under this particular thing? So once you are done, basically you'll fit into different roles like MicroStrategy. developer, or else they may recruit you as a microstrategy architect, or else they may recruit you as a microstrategy administrator. So these are the different roles you will fit in. So generally, like for every person who has 3 years, right? So this basically should be sufficient, but again having architect knowledge is again an added advantage. So what I tell is any person over 3 years of experience till whatever years of experience you have, right, you can just put under these two, developer and then architect. So in India, right, so basically if you are, say for example I say 2 plus, then it is going to fit as a developer. But again, so when it is a 3 plus, right, so you put 3 plus, 5 plus, 6 plus and so on. So basically they expect you a bit of architect skills as well. So architect is again very simple. So we'll see, we'll cover like entire architect part as well. So our course, right, basically we just concentrate on these two things, developer and then architect. So in the same developer, right, so we do have a dashboard designing. So under the same developer, right, so we have a concept, like again, like this is again a big concept. So wherein you are going to create dashboards, like reports and dashboards, right? So this particular dashboard designing, earlier, right, we used to have a separate dashboard designer, separate report developer and separate architect. But now like the market, right, requires a multi-skilled resource. So on that particular lines, like no one is looking for a resource who has only developer or who has only dashboard designing experience or an architect. So like in the market, so every one of us or every one of the companies, right, they are looking out for a person who has exposure in developer and architect, in the developer and architect. So there is a basic prerequisite for every person who is attending. So you need to be strong in these two areas, developer as well as a architect. And then yeah, I've like worked on administration, say not completely I can say, but probably 25 to 30% I've worked on the administration stuff as well. So on that lines, what it does basically is if you learn that 25% as well, so it adds weightage to your resume. It adds weightage to your resume as you get more calls. That is one thing. And second thing, when you go to any interview and a person who is knowing only developer and then architect, and a person who knows developer, architect, admin, and they have only one single position, so in that case they are going to consider the person who is having experience in all three areas. So what I say basically is, so let's, as part of this course, right, let's focus on all three areas, but primarily, right, so it should be developer and admin, because this is where you find a lot of jobs. So for like say 10 different developers and architects, there will be one single position for an administrator. So on that lines, just think like, the number of positions will be more for developer and architect when compared to admin, but having that, right, it is be an added advantage. So this is on the roles. And apart from roles, so basically now whenever you take MicroStrategy, right, so assume like say for example, so you want to use MicroStrategy, you are in some particular organization, and in your organization you want to start using MicroStrategy. You want to start using MicroStrategy. So for this specific thing, you go to MicroStrategy and then take a license from MicroStrategy company. So once you take license, so basic thing, they provide you as two different components or two different products or the same products, right? You can put as components as well. So products or components. So this particular thing, you can have a MicroStrategy developer, and in previous version, so from 9.4, right, we call developer, but prior to this we used to call the same interface as MicroStrategy desktop. And apart from that, you do have MicroStrategy web. You do have MicroStrategy web. So these are the two basic components you require. So when you take a license, so this comes by default, MicroStrategy Web and then developer. So you want to take any other product. There are various other products which does other functionalities. In order to have that, right, you need to pay some extra licenses. You need to have some extra licensing cost in order to take that products, and all that products are related to administrator. So these are the two different products, developer and web. These are the two things which are required for developer and architect. But when it comes to admin, right? So when it comes to the admin products, there are many different admin products. So under the admin products, you will have, say for example, the major one, right? So you'll be using an object manager. And apart from object manager, you do have a command manager for writing certain scripts, and then you do have a system manager for creating certain workflows. All these things I'm just writing it, just want to tell you at least, okay, when it is MicroStrategy, how big it is. So you'll have an enterprise manager, and then you do have integrity manager. So these are the different components you will have in MicroStrategy. So all this particular component, every component or every product have a specific functionality to it. So let me tell you the basic things which are required is two things. One is developer and the other one is web. So why this particular developer interface we require basically is in order to create the reports, in order to execute as a developer. You being a developer, MicroStrategy developer, you need to create reports, you need to create dashboards, you need to create various other objects. So all that objects where you are going to design means you are going to design in the developer interface or else in the desktop interface. So in this particular interface, so how it looks like, I'll just show you. So simply you need to just come here, then select this specific thing. So once assume MicroStrategy you have installed in your machine, so simply you need to go to all programs. Under all programs, so just select this all programs. So under all programs, so you find a folder with MicroStrategy. So once you install it, and then under that you do see a folder as MicroStrategy products. So once you click on this particular MicroStrategy products, so now you could see all these things like MicroStrategy web, then you see a developer, command manager, integrity manager, system manager. So you don't see one like enterprise manager because that will be present, like once you build, that will be present once you open the developer tool. So I'm just clicking on this developer interface. So once you click on this particular developer interface, so this is where it opens up, and then generally, so it will ask you or it will prompt you to enter the credentials. So like if you look at this one, the login ID and then the password. So whatever like this we are working, right? So it is a trial version. So in order to take license, right, it will be in cross. So what we do basically is MicroStrategy has given a trial version wherein like for us, for the beginners, right, to explore on this particular tool, they'll give a trial version. And this trial version, once you install in your machine, it is going to last 30 days. It is going to last 30 days. And after 30 days, again you need to uninstall and then reinstall. You want to practice it. So this is like a continuous process. You need to uninstall then install in your machine. Say for example, so assume like once you install the tutorial version, the login ID, the default login ID will be administrator and the password will be blanks. So once you click on this one, say I want to log in with my own name, my own password. Yes, that can be done by using the administrative stuff. So once we learn administrator, we learn how to create a login ID and how to set a password, all these things. Security based on your login, what information you have to see in. But again, to start up, so what we'll do, every one of us basically, once we connect to developer is, so we just provide the login ID as administrator and the password as blank places. So this should be blanks. So once you do it, just click on OK. Then once you do it right, so then it opens up a MicroStrategy developer interface. So this is a developer interface, and in this developer interface only this is a project source. What is it we'll discuss? You need to just click on this plus, which expands the list of things, and once you select this, it shows you the list of say modules, I can say, under this particular project source. So each of this is a module, or technically I say each of this is a project. So collection of this particular projects is this one, MicroStrategy Analytics module, which is called as a project source, So once you open the developer, the higher level you see is this one, MicroStrategy Analytics module, or this one. So this is a project source, and this project source contains a group of projects, like financial reporting. Under one single bank, you'll have many modules, right? Each module we consider as a project. You can consider as a project. So in real time when you log in, you don't see like MicroStrategy Analytics module. So this is a tutorial one which we are seeing like this. So once you open a real time one, you will see your project like say City USA, or Deutsche Bank. So you provide some name which is going to suit for your project. So instead of MicroStrategy Analytics module, you see a different thing. So once you click on that plus symbol, then it shows up different modules like financial reporting, HRA reporting, then loan reporting, and so on. So from that, say you will be assigned maximum, generally as per my experience I have seen, so it will be assigned to a single project. So there will be different projects under one single client, and then from that particular projects you will be assigned to a single module. So reporting or dashboard, whatever it is, to a single project. So most of the guys have seen as per my experience, so it will be assigned to a single project. And this particular project, once you click on this plus symbol, so that project gets expanded, and we are majorly concerned on these two things. So I just click on that, and then this one. So once you open any project, so under that particular project, you could see a set of objects like this. Once you click public objects, so whatever you are seeing towards your right hand side, or whatever objects you are seeing just below that, right, all are one and same. So all this put together is called public objects. Public objects means a group of these objects. Similarly, schema objects, a group of this particular objects, attributes, facts, all these things, right? A group of this particular 5-6 objects is a schema objects, and is a public objects. So when we said roles, right, so we discussed on the roles, we'll have a developer, and then we will have an architect. So as per this particular role, when I say in MicroStrategy a person is a developer, means, so once you come to this interface, in this interface a person who is working on this particular set of objects, whatever you see here, right, auto styles, consolidation, custom group, so all this specific thing whichever is worked, right, who will work on this set of objects means a developer. So in MicroStrategy, developer means he is going to be responsible for creating up the public objects. So whenever I say MicroStrategy developer, so which objects comes basically is developer means it will be public objects. So MicroStrategy developer means public objects. And then similarly, when it comes to MicroStrategy architect, so this particular architect means, so whatever you are saying, just below public objects you see another set of objects, right? People who work on schema objects, so that is where like you call them as an architect. And again remember one thing, so when we say architect, it is not like he is going to work only on schema objects. So it includes schema, and then also is going to work on public objects. He works on both, but extra access he will have for the schema objects. So for this particular objects, so if you look, the number itself is small, like out of which functions means like whatever functions used, like minimum, maximum, operator, greater than, less than, this is not an object. And similarly partition mapping, So there are only 7. Out of that 7, just you can exclude 2. So there are only 5 different objects under the schema objects, but each of them is very important because for you to build up a report or to get the correct data, your schema has to be correct. Your schema has to be correct. So this will be the heart for your MicroStrategy project. So if your schema is good, then it will be easy for you to develop your reports and get the correct data. But you architect doesn't have much knowledge wherein he creates, some XYZ thing, right? So if he's not strong enough and he doesn't provide the correct relationship, then all your report is going to show incorrect data, even though however you design it. So the main thing, right, for the any project, right, will be the schema stuff, will be the schema. So that is where like you will have, say when we say developer, public object. When we say architect, it will be the schema object. So what is this administrator basically is? So in the same developer, you just scroll little bit up. So once you just scroll little bit up, so at the top, you could see for all the projects, right? All the projects, there will be one single administration. So for every project, you will not have administration. So you'll have this administration option at the project source level. So whatever at the top level you're seeing, right? So you'll have the project, at the project source level, you'll have this administration option. What does that mean is, from here, you can control all the projects in the project source. And under this specific thing, so what you have basically under the administration means, so once you just come over here, so in this specific thing, so there is something called user manager. You click on this one, there is something called everyone, and then you see a MicroStrategy groups as such. So this particular groups, whatever you see groups, right? So this groups means like a group of, say for example, I have all the managers, I put under like managers group. I put all the list of web users who are using online. So here I use all the warehouse like database users under one thing. So in this way you are going to segregate that users by creating different groups. And then basically under everyone you'll have all the users. So these are the list of the users. So like this you can create your own ID, your own password as well. But again, to create these users and then to create that user groups will be the responsibility of admin. And apart from that, there is something called transmitters and then devices. So what is this particular transmitters and devices means? Say for example, once a report gets executed, it has to send an email. It has to send an email for which it need to have a email transmitter. It has to send to a printer. It need to have this print transmitter. And then, so it has to send you notification, right? For which the device should be configured. Whatever device you are sending, that has to be configured in the devices. And to whom I have to send, that you have to provide in the contacts. You have to provide in the contacts. And then on similar lines, say you need to connect to different databases to pull the data. To connect to any database from MicroStrategy, you make use of database instances. You make use of database instances. So these are the available database instances. You want to create a new one, right? You can just do it by simply right click here and then you get an option called as new database instance. And similarly, you want a report to run at a specific time. So if you look at this one, there are some predefined templates, as in if you attach this one, it runs only on Monday morning. But I want to run a report daily at 7 a.m. daily at 7 a.m. So I don't have any schedule. So if at all I want to create that one, then again I need to go to schedules, and in the schedule we have to create our own custom schedule. That will be the new schedules we'll be doing. And on a similar lines, similar to schedules, there will be an events. So what does this events means is, say based on certain action, you need to perform other action. Say for example, I have one report. That report should run whenever my database table load is completed. So whenever your database table load is completed, you will call your MicroStrategy report. So whenever some event has happened, so that event here is your loading of database table. So once that event is done, so what is the next thing you want to do? I want to run a report. I want to refresh an intelligent queue and so on. So in order to do that one, so we are going to create an events, different events on the database load and so on. So we'll see all these things. So basically on the security. So what this security means is, so basically you are a manager who log in to the system, and you are a clerk who log into the same system. You are a CEO who log into the system. So everyone should have the same access means? Obviously no. So based on your role, there will be some security that will be assigned to you. So what level of data you can access and so on. So that is decided by the security roles. And then the languages is in which language you want to see the report. So by default it will be English, but you want to translate that into any of the native language, that also you can just do it. And then subscription. Subscription means you need to send a report. Say you are just automating it. So you are subscribing means, so I need to send this report to so and so person at so and so time, and in a form of Excel, in a form of PDF, everything. So you just take care using the subscription stuff. And similarly, you get to system monitors. Under system monitors, if you run some reports, assume all that reports will show here, whichever report is running. So in real time, there are 100 users. How many reports are running currently, right? I can just come to this one. I can monitor here. So whichever reports are running, what is the status, whether they are running successfully or whether they are failing. So this user connections is again connections. Between that, you have a database connections. When you have more than one node, like you might have here something called clustered environment. So during that, we make use of this database connection. Similarly, you want to store some data on the cache, like similar to your RAM and so on. So you want to store your reports, or you want to store your documents, or you want to store your intelligent queue. So all the particular things you can just store them in a cache, because from the second run it will be faster. So these things we'll discuss in detail, the caching and so on. So this is for indices and this is for general transactions. And similarly, so you'll have a system administrator and you create whatever it is, project, then cluster, node, schedule. So all these things is a responsibility of an admin. So and all these particular objects, whatever we have, right? So those comes under similar to public and similar to schema. So there will be a configuration objects. There will be a configuration objects. So whenever we say configuration objects, so it will be a responsibility of an admin. And whenever it is an admin, so no experience as such. Like you put n years of experience, right? So whatever years, like 2 years I worked pure admin, 10 years I worked on pure admin. So anything you can say it. Right, so this is what on the roles and how these particular roles are mapped in MicroStrategy. Means public objects developer, schema objects architect, configuration objects administrator. So anyone, any question on these particular roles? So on MicroStrategy roles, whatever you have, so any questions? Okay, fine. Yeah, so we'll just move forward. So yeah, so basically these are the different roles we have, and this is like the level of experience we have and so on. And post which, so when it comes to say MicroStrategy products, as I said, this particular developer interface or the desktop interface, so use this particular interface for creating all these objects. You can create configuration objects, you can create public objects, then you can create schema objects. So all these particular objects you can create, right, using the developer interface. So but majority of our work, right, as a developer will be creating these reports, and once you create a reports, you group certain reports in order to create documents and dashboards. In order to create documents and dashboards. So this will be the major role. Create reports and then create documents. And to this report, the other things like how to use prompts, how to use the metrics, how to use consolidation, how to use templates and so on. So these are other things which we need to take care. Right. So this is a like mainly this developer interface is used mostly by developers. Like we are developers and we use this interface. Like say 95% of our time we spent on developing objects in the MicroStrategy developer interface. But again, when it comes to end users, so in order to see their report, so again, should they install any MicroStrategy software developer, then come back to this folder and see means it will be tough for the business user or your company CEO managers to come over here, navigate here and see the report. So instead they want to see the report online or else they want to see the report on the web. So once you purchase MicroStrategy, so MicroStrategy is going to give a product, right? MicroStrategy Web as a product, and this particular MicroStrategy Web product is something mainly used for the users. So user, whoever wants to see any report, right, he is going to log in to MicroStrategy Web, similar like you just log into www.icicibank.com, citibank.com and so on. So whatever page you see, right, so that is a portal or that is a web. From there you can navigate to any other place easily. So for users also, so you will get by default a MicroStrategy web wherein whatever reports as a developer we create here, that reports can be accessed by users over the web. So this web is used by developers to some extent, but your users, right, 100% they don't log into developer. So they just simply log into MicroStrategy web, and in the MicroStrategy web, they are going to run their reports. They are going to run their reports in the MicroStrategy web. So this is used for all the users and this is used by all your developers and architects. So these are the two major components which we'll discuss as part of our course. Mainly we'll discuss on these two products, and apart from that, so when it comes to this particular admin products, so under the admin products, so you have object manager. Basically a lot of other tools, what they do basically is they depend on other tools for some extra things, as in say, I hope a lot of people don't know it, but let me tell, like, say in real time, you'll have different environments like development environment, then QA environment, and then production environment. So you'll have different environments, and between different environments means development is designed for us, production for the users, and then the QA is for the testers. So in this way you'll have testing team, client team and developers V. So each of this team is going to work on a specific dedicated environment. So we work in development, testers will work in QA, and then production will be accessed by users. That we'll see in detail in a coming session. But again, you created certain report in development, and that particular report from development has to be moved into production, has to be moved into test. So in order to move an object from one environment to other environment, you are going to make use of object manager product. You are going to make use of object manager product. So what is the purpose of object manager means? Object manager is used to migrate objects from one environment to other environment, from one environment to other environment. And then when it comes to the command manager, so at times, right, so basically you want to automate something. Automate means instead of a person sitting in an office and running a job at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. or late night 2 a.m. right, or 11 p.m. and so on. So what you can do is using this particular command manager, you can automate various tasks, like you can start your server, you can stop your server and so on. So every server, so once you stop, it gives a better performance. So on that lines, you can just choose some time frame in the late night and then you can write a script. Write a script means SQL in order to start the server, and then in order to stop the server, then after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can just restart the server. How do you restart your machine? So similar to that one, you want to restart the server. So you can just have that particular scripts automated using the command manager. Not only one, there are various other things like creating bulk objects. Say for example, you need to create one user, it's fine, but you want to create 1,000 users at a time. So again, that bulk objects creation is done by command manager, and you want to see various different things. All these things can be possible using the command manager. And similar case, a system manager basically is used for creating different workflows. Workflows as in, so you might have come across like algorithms or flowchart. So based on like one action, so you create one action, and based on that, it has to trigger another action. So yes means it has to go to one place, no means another place. Again for that one, so what is a decision? Yes means to one place, no means to another one. So you can create that algorithms, or you can create that flowcharts in MicroStrategy using this product. That is a system manager product. And apart from that, you do have enterprise manager. So enterprise manager is again one important product of MicroStrategy, which helps in statistical analysis, or statistical reporting. So what does that mean? Basically is, say for example, I have already created many users. In my project I have 1,000 users, but basically now the space of my server, right, is coming close, right? So it is, only 100 GB free space I have in server. So I want to free up some server. So in that particular lines, I want to analyze some information as in, okay, I have 1,000 users, but out of these 1,000 users, how many users are not logging in for last 1 year? So then what I can assume, if they don't log in for 1 year, so they may have left the company, but we haven't deleted them. Or else I've created 100 reports and users are accessing only 90 reports. The rest 10 reports, initially they had a requirement to create it, but post that, what happened basically is they were not running that report. I want to access the reports which has been accessed 1 year before, or like similarly not reports, dashboards, filters, metrics, whatnot, like all the objects. So I want to get that stats, okay, whichever is not used, whichever is very highly used, whichever is more used, so that I can see the performance of that particular report or dashboard is high. To get all that particular statistics, we have to create a project called as enterprise manager, which helps in, once you create this enterprise manager product, so by default you will have 300 different matrices which helps you to analyze the stats. And then similarly, there is one last product which is an integrity manager. So this integrity manager is used for automating the testing. So in order to automate testing means, say you do a manual testing. So once you create a report or you create a dashboard, so you have to manually test it. You have to manually test it whether whatever you are seeing, right, is correct or not. So if that is the case, basically, right, then it is a time consuming process and we are not sure whether whatever we are validating is correct or not. So in order to automate that unit testing process, we have a product called as Integrity Manager. So what it does basically is, it is a system testing. So wherein most of the testing is again taken care by the tool itself. So it minimizes again the manual effort. So these are all the things. If you want to learn admin, so then only you need to learn these particular tools. So other than that, so these are the specific things which are, very much required for you, the developer and then the web. So clear on all different products, or you have any question, right? So you can just ask me. So all these things we'll see in detail. So I just want to give an overview. Okay, this will be there, and this tool means it does this one. This tool means it does this one. Okay, you have this product or component, it is going to perform this functionality. So any question on this particular products which I have said, or you're good? Okay, fine. So now moving on to, yeah, some more things, some more basics we'll see. So we'll start with, so what we do basically is we'll start with the first component, that is, the first product or this one. So basically most of our time, right, we work, say 90% I said will be developer. So today I'll just show you the developer interface and then how to create up a basic report for like, another 15 minutes or something. Alright, so this is a developer interface. I'm just getting that. I'll show you how to create a basic report, how simple it will be. So first thing, so just try to understand here. First thing, whenever it is a new project in that particular lines, so first thing basically what happens is, so first who will involve in project means your architect will involve the schema objects, right? So this has to be there because on the report you are going to place attributes and then metrics. So to create any basic report, you need to have attributes and metrics. Why metrics is required basically is, so when we say fact, right, yesterday we discussed fact and then measure in our previous session. So fact cannot be directly placed on the report. So on the report, every user want to see an aggregated value. They want to see an aggregated value. So this particular facts, whatever we build, right? So this particular facts, we on the facts only, we are going to create a matrix. So to create a basic report, you require dimensions or attributes, and then you require facts in order to create in order to create the matrix. Again, this attributes and this particular facts, from where you will get basically is you will get them from the tables. You will get from the tables. So you'll have a tables. Under the tables you'll have attributes and then the facts. And some of the attributes like year, quarter, month, yesterday we have seen category, subcategory, right? So all those specific things gets related in the hierarchy. They have to be related. If you look, you see a product here. So I just open that particular product here. There is a hierarchy. Hierarchy means all the related dimensions, you are going to put together. So if you look at here, basically, so you'll have category, under category you'll have subcategory, under subcategory you'll have item. So these are all the related attributes you need to combine in order to create a hierarchy. So first thing, to start up with any project, your architect has to build all these things. He has to bring the tables and then he has to create attributes. He has to create facts. He has to create hierarchies. So without these four objects, we cannot start building the reports. So what does that mean is, so the first, who will work in the project means it will be the architect who is going to work first in the project. But again for an architect, so he has to get tables. He need to get tables from where means from the data warehouse itself. We discussed, right? So in the data warehouse itself, we'll have the tables. So that data warehouse table, we need to get into MicroStrategy. So between MicroStrategy and then database, there should be some connectivity. Okay, the MicroStrategy has to talk with database, then only it will get data. But again, to talk with, you require some link or you require some connections, which again, right, that connection is ODBC connections, which is done by the administrator, and then what accesses you need to have, all these things. So first, whenever a new project comes in, it will be an architect and then it will be an admin who will be working together. Admin and then an architect who will be working together. And these guys works together, and once the schema objects are set up, then we start with the reporting. Or we start building up the reports. So under this particular reports, so once you expand this reports, right, so you have, say for example, different folders here. So you can create like one folder, so wherein you want to store all your reports, right? So just come over here and then create your own folder. Say for example, So demo reports. So I want to have a, say all my reports. Let's use this particular folder to create different reports. Simply just right click on this, and as you see many different options, so just come to new and you see various different options here. So all this shows the list of objects which you can create, and out of which I'm just getting to new report. Just click on that report, and then it shows various templates like how do you create a Microsoft, PowerPoint presentation and so on. It shows various templates. So here also it shows a various template. So for time being I'm selecting the blank report. Just click OK. So once you click OK, then this is a report editor. It shows up the report editor. In the report editor, so you could see now this is one area or one section basically. So this section report Oracle template. So we generally call this together as report template. A report template. So this particular section is one which is mandatory, and on this particular section itself we are going to place our attributes and metrics. So where we place our attributes and metrics means in the report template. So but okay, from where I have to place in? So I have that particular folder present in my project. So in order to browse any object in the project, so you need to browse any object in the project. So at the top here you have various options here, so out of which you need to get into view menu. So this is the view menu which will be used mostly. So just click on view. Once you click on view, there are different options that shows up. All these are different sections or different views. By end of tomorrow's session you'll understand in detail. So as of now I'm just selecting this option, object browser. So just click on that object browser. So once you click on that particular object browser section, so you could see a section like object browser, and towards here you could just see a section report template. So the purpose of this object browser section is to browse any object in the project. You can browse any object, be it public, be it schema, or else you can just expand this, you can just navigate it, or else, so how do you bookmark, or like how do you add to your favorites? You'll directly get that one, my shortcuts, and based on that already the most frequently viewed one will be added as a shortcut here. So you want to place some particular objects here. Simply you can just switch on to public, switch on to schema, attributes and metrics. So these are the 4 different folders we use, mostly public, schema, then the list of attributes and metrics. As we use attributes and metrics, by default you get these 2 as a shortcuts as well. Okay, I need to place like some object on my report. So in order to place it, very simple. So just you go here, select your attributes, this cube symbol. So once you select this attribute symbol, it shows up different folders here. Like different folder here means each of the folder is a specific subject what we discussed, or else each of this particular folder is a hierarchy. So once you open this one, you see all the attributes which are related to geography, and once you open say this time, you see all the attributes which are related to the time hierarchy. So say for example you want to see a report which shows you quarter wise category sales. So in that particular lines, very simple. So I want to have quarter assume. So just come here, double click it, that's it. So automatically it comes and adds to your report template. So just go back. I want to place my subcategory or category. So in order to place that one, it will be present in the products folder. So just click on this particular products folder. Which one you want to add it? Simply you need to double click, that's it. So once you double click on this one, say for example, now I'll show you where we'll have facts. Facts will be present in schema objects. So once you go to schema objects and you take any fact and then just try to place this one on the report. So just try to drag this one and then drop it, or else you double click here, it doesn't work. So what does that mean is you cannot place facts on the report. Instead what we do is we are going to aggregate these facts in order to create metrics. This is the metrics, and in the metrics you just go to sales metric, and I want revenue, and then also I want to see profit. Fine. So just only the thing, you need to know which columns you need to place it. That is a key thing. So once you know it, you need to know the folders. I mean, that comes based on the practice. Like in a project, you work for 10 days, it gets familiar. But again, this tutorial, you work on 3-4 days, it will be very familiar. Okay, so which columns I need to place it? That is the first thing. And second thing is where that particular columns are present. If you are not aware, you can search. Like how do you search in your system or in a Word document using Control F? Here also you have that options wherein you can search it if you don't know where exactly it is located, right? That we'll see in a coming sessions. But as of now, you have this particular quarter, you have this category, you have revenue, and then you have profit. Fine. So this information you have. So for this particular columns, you want to see the data. So the data is present in data warehouse. So as soon as you click here, something on run. So once you design the report, designing the report means placing up related attributes, means which attributes you want on the report, which metrics you want to see on the report, whether any report should contain filters, all these things. So once you design the report, in order to see the result, there is a simple option. You need to click on this particular run report. So just click on this particular run report, and as soon as you click on this one, so the report gets executed and it shows data. Okay, for 2010 Q1, these are the categories and this is the revenue for each of that category, and there is a profit that has been generated. So based on this, you can just try to, get further below and then try to analyze the information. So or else basically, so just you want to see only quarter information, simple a drag and drop, and automatically the report changes to show you data at the quarter level. And you see now the data is displaying in the grid form. And in order to convert this into something graphically, a very simple thing, so just beside your run report, right, so you have an option, just look at this one. So from here, so you are in grid view, I want to convert that into graph. So which type of graph you want? I want a line graph which should show me a trend. Then select this one, that's it. So automatically the same report which was in a tabular format has been converted into a line graph or a trend graph into 5 seconds. Within a 5 seconds you can just convert the data into graph, not one. There are many different things. So you just double click here, then just simply right click, then go to graph type. So under graph type there are many different things. Okay, just simply select this one, select the option which graph you want, that's it. So automatically it is going to show you, and then on one single click again it is going to show, okay, these are the different quarters and what is the sales under each quarter. You want to calculate this in percentage, the values into percentage, it will be very tough for us to do a calculation. But whereas here all things are like simple, you need to select something, that's it. So just you need to know options, that's it. What I say is all these options is knowing is something we learn as part of a course. Show value as a percentage and then I click OK. So automatically that has been converted into percentage. What is the advantage of percentage means? So you can easily understand, okay, which area has more, percentage means more value. Whichever area has less, that means less percentage and so on. So all things within say seconds or minutes, you can just do it. And then basically you want to switch back to again to the latest, the old one, tabular format, you can do it. That will be there as it is. You can just convert to graph. You have both grid and then graph. You want to see towards left hand side, one towards right hand side. You want to interchange this order, one above, other one down. That also you can do it. And apart from that, so whenever you run any report, that report will generate the SQL. And that particular SQL, you get to SQL view. In the SQL view, it is going to show the select query which is used in order to fetch the data. In order to fetch the data, so what is the select query that has been used? So based on your need, you go for graph, you go for grid, you go for grid and graph, or else you go for the SQL in order to analyze it. So these are the different views. Like once you create a report, then you can view that in a different ways. And similarly, similar like these options, basically now once you open your report, you could see object browser and then you could see report template. But once you get to view menu, there are many different options. Like say for example, I click on this one. Say you see here one more section got added. So I just go to view and then report filter definition. So there is another section which has been added below that one. So just go to view and then report objects. As soon as I click on this one, so above the object browser, you could see there is another section that got added, that is the report object section. So in this way, on the same report template, you'll have different sections. These are the different sections like report objects, object browser, view filter, report view. So to discuss more detail on this, right, so it takes time. So to get to this particular sections to discuss in detail, probably an hour it takes. So all these things will start fresh from tomorrow on the sections. So before that, right, so I just want to know, like, people are attending from classroom, right? So there, so are you good to attend session tomorrow? As like if you spend sessions on Sunday, then basically it is going to be, you can complete fast. No, people who are in classroom, so okay then, say guys, like we'll start tomorrow again at same time the session, wherein we'll start with the MicroStrategy architecture. So whenever I'm clicking on this button, right, run button, so what is it happening? So where the control is going from this tool, where the control is going, and there what process it is happening, and from there how again it is coming to the report. So we are going to see that backend process of this particular thing. And once you understand that, we'll be seeing the different sections as in, so what is the purpose of report objects? What is the purpose of report filter? What is the purpose of view filter? All these things probably require another 2 hours of basic session. And once we are done with that particular 2 hours of basic session, so what we'll do basically is we'll get started with this particular objects. Like we'll learn to create filters and then use on the reports. We should learn how to create metrics and use on the reports. We should learn consolidation, how to use on the report. All these objects we create, bottom line, to use on the reports, and we build reports in order to use on the documents, to use in the document. So this is what our public objects. So basically we can start with schema. But again, like if you have like prior experience of any other tool, we can start with schema. But like most of guys are fresher, right? So you feel tough when we start with schema, because to learn schema, say some table relationships, all these things are key thing. That's it. But again, so once we are done with this, so you'll be comfortable on that particular relationship and everything. So once we discuss at last schema, it will be easy for you guys. So this is what like our course. Tomorrow we'll see architecture of MicroStrategy, and then on the next session we'll be seeing the report basics. In order to create report, what are sections, that report editor, what are the different controls or sections we have in there, and then from next class after 2 hours of session we'll start with the filters concept. So fine, at least if filters and metrics are done, then I can understand like how we are grasping things, and from there, right, we can just plan. I mean I can clearly tell you till which time your course gets completed once filters and metrics are completed. So fine, then with that, right, I'll end today's session, and we'll catch up tomorrow at same time. So thanks all for joining. Have a good day there, and good night to the persons who joined from here. Fine then, bye.